In this session and the next session, I want to focus more on the characteristics of young adults. That will help you if you're mentoring a younger or an emerging adult. If you're mentoring an older person, I think the principles will still be helpful and beneficial, but the emphasis is on the younger adults, or what are sometimes called emerging adults. So I want to take a look at a few things that young adults are looking for and that we as their mentors need to be aware that they're looking for these things and provide them as much as possible for our mentorees. First of all, the first thing is hearth and table. Many young emerging adults are away from home, perhaps for the first time, and they need places of warmth, nourishment, comfortable home-like settings. In many cases, they need places that are like the homes they've left. And probably in even more cases, they need places that are not like the homes they left because they didn't have a warm and nourishing home environment. So many of the young adults that I come across have come from very dysfunctional homes. And so to provide a home-like setting with hearth and table is just an incredible blessing because we are mentoring them indirectly simply by demonstrating what a warm, comfortable home looks like. They need places where there can be relaxed and easy and safe conversation, where there's no agenda, no schedule, no lecture, just sitting around talking, laughing, asking questions, discussing the answers to those questions, and so on. We often have groups of students over to our home, and we try to provide that kind of a setting where they're comfortable, they're in a living room, they're sprawled on couches, on the floor. In the wintertime, we'll have a fireplace, we'll have a fire going in the fireplace, and just a warm, home-like environment. And of course, when you're dealing with young adults, especially college students, food is an essential part of that mix. Most of our students here at Eternity are in living situations where they do their own cooking. So a home-cooked meal that is provided for them is just an absolute blessing. And so young adults are looking for hearth and home. And if you as a mentor can provide a home-like setting, an evening where they can come and relax and eat and ask questions and discuss things, it'll be an incredible blessing to them. The second thing that young adults are looking for is a sounding board to discuss big life questions. Whether it's in your home or in your weekly meeting with your mentoree or whatever the circumstance, welcome big questions. Encourage big questions. Don't be afraid of them, even if you don't know the answers. And believe me, young adults, as all of us, are asking questions and have questions to which there are no easy answers. But nevertheless, they need to be discussed. They need to be surfaced and put out there. Big questions are the order of the day, including issues with big questions having to do with vocation, with theology, with sexuality, with relationships, with faith, political issues, social issues. As we engage young adults in these kinds of questions, we will be helping them begin to see answers through a biblical and a godly worldview. And they can work on coming to their own answers, and we can guide them toward answers. And so we as their mentors need to provide a safe and supportive environment, yet also a challenging environment where honest questions can be asked, where critical thinking is welcomed, and where their adolescent faith can mature. And that brings us to the third thing that young adults are looking for, and that is answers to three big questions. In your mentoree, an emerging adult, a young adult, there's three primary themes that we as their mentors need to watch for. The first one has to do with their relationship with God and knowing Him, and so the question they're asking is, who is God? The second theme has to do with their identity as a person, as a chosen person, a loved child of God, and that question would be, who am I? The third theme has to do with their unique calling and gifting for service to God through the church, in the kingdom, in the world, and the question would be, what am I to do with my life? And so who is God? Who am I and what am I to do with my life? Those are the three big questions that young adults are asking. Of course, all of us are asking those questions continuously, and I wrestle with them. You wrestle with them at different times and in different ways. And as we mentor a younger adult, we can share our journey and how we have come to resolution to some of those questions, how we found answers to some of them, how we're still struggling with some of those questions. You're simply farther along in the journey, and so you can provide guidance for your mentoree. Now, these three questions are so big that I want to take the whole next session and talk about them. We don't really have time to unpack them quickly, but I want to look at them in more detail in the next session.